All right, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, and I'm joined today with my guest, Brian, that boy, Brian. Brian, how are you doing
I'm
today?
doing good, man. I appreciate you having me here. I'm excited to record this podcast.
Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks for coming out. We appreciate you spending some time with us
For sure,
today.
for sure.
So, Brian is a content creator, sports enthusiast, gamer, entertainer, and I think above all, just a person that likes to spread positivity out in the world.
For sure, man.
Other than that, yeah, for sure. Other than that, Brian, I mean, is there anything else that you want to touch on about kind of what you're up to or what you kind of do with
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
platforms?
no, you kind of hit the nail on the head right there. Everything that you said. Thank you for the kind words. And yeah,
Yeah,
that's really what I'm about. Like you said, sports, gaming, entertainment, and just most importantly, just positivity. Trying to, make the world a better place, especially in excuse me, especially in times like this. We gotta, as a collective community, we have to all try to spread that positivity throughout the world to help each other out.
I love that, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about positivity too. You and I,
Yep.
we've talked, personally about positivity and everything, and it makes a big difference, man. It's really something that, like you said, the world needs, especially during a time
Yeah,
like
it
now.
definitely does make a difference. You can even see it like if you're like with friends or family, if you just bring that positive energy into your life and then you bring it into others' lives, you see like the change in people, how they just change from, if someone's down or if they're not having a good day and you bring that positive energy, like it just changes the whole mood.
Exactly. Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't think we always realize how much
Uh-huh.
power we
Yeah.
have with positivity. I mean, even just like I think about going out for dinner or going to the grocery store or something, like the people that you interact with that
Yeah.
work there, like just a smile, a hey, how's it going, asking them about their day, that could completely change their
100%.
lives for sure. So, Brian, positivity is something that's really important to you. Like what got you into it? Or like, have you always just been this positive guy? Or like, was there a moment that was like,
Yeah.
hey, like I want to spread this positive
Yeah,
vibe
that's a
while I
good
can?
question. Let me think. So I think that as as time went by and I've just got exposed to more and more different, things about the world. And, as I grew older, like I started to realize that, especially with social media, like, Twitter and Instagram, all that stuff, I started to realize that a lot
Hmm.
of, um, people who have power, like for example, content creators or celebrities, they don't use their not they know that's too general. Some of these people don't use their platforms in the ways that I think are important. They have such power and so many people listen to them, yet they aren't in my opinion spreading that positivity that they should. So like to me, I was like, all right, well, being someone who does or try to do some content creation with YouTube like you said, and just in general, I feel like whoever watches my videos or even in real life, whoever I interact with, I want to try to use any power that I might have to try to make other people's lives better. Because at the end of the day, I mean, look, content creation, whether it's in the entertainment business, anything like that, like it's all just to provide some sort of either entertainment, inspiration, or like motivation in someone's life. It's all about you know adding to the consumer's life. So like for me, you know I just thought, if I'm going to do YouTube, or if I'm going to, make videos or whatever, I want to just try to be as positive as possible, because then if I ever were to get, people watching, or if people do watch, I want to make sure that they enjoy the experience, and also, they can kind of, brighten their day a little bit.
Yeah, though that's incredible, and I agree. Like so many people that have these platforms, we don't
Hmm.
want to generalize here, like you said, but there's a decent amount of people that don't really use that
Right.
platform for good, or maybe, they're spewing negativity or just toxic
Yeah.
things. And these are kind of, our quote unquote
Yeah.
influencers. So, other people are seeing it, young kids maybe even are learning like this is, the way to be, but really it's all about that kind of like love,
100%.
positivity, good energy. And I love that that's kind of a staple in what you do with your content and honestly
Yeah.
just you as a
Yeah,
person
no, it's
too.
definitely. I definitely try to, like I said, definitely try to incorporate as much positivity into my life as possible. And I've had people ask me, just like you did there. I've had people ask me, why are you so positive? And it's just like
Hmm.
To me, if I'm gonna like, if I'm gonna, if there's gonna be so much negativity in the world that I can't control, like whether that be, I don't know, like, world problems, social problems, stuff like
Yeah.
that. If there's gonna be tons of negativity that I can't control, I'm gonna make sure that I'm positive and bringing, good vibes to the things that I can control. If that makes sense.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I love that you said that. There's only so much
Yeah.
that we can control in our lives and in the world. So, it's kind of just like almost let go of what we can't and just
Yep.
focus on what we can. Awesome. So, Brian, I'm with you on the whole positivity, and that's how I like to live my life. And just something that I think about, and people have asked me, and I'm sure you've probably gotten it, is like, what if you're having
Yeah.
like a bad day? Like, do you kind of like allow yourself to have those days, or like do you still just kind of say like, I might be having a tough day, but I want to be positive still for everyone else.
Yeah,
Do you have like a
yeah,
process for
that's
that?
a really, really interesting question. I really haven't gotten that, but I like the question a lot. Um, you know, I think that just as a human, I think we all have those days, no matter how
Hmm.
positive you are outwardly to people, we all have our, insecurities or our, days where we're like, oh man, like I don't feel like doing anything. Or, you wake up and you get hit with like you go online and something, you see like some negative thing, and you're like, oh, that ruined my day. So I think that we all have those days. And like for me, I definitely do allow myself to I kind of allow myself to try and find ways to cope with that. Like, I'll have days where, especially with what we're going on right now in the world with, the whole coronavirus, all that stuff. Like,
Hmm.
there's definitely been times, especially over the past like year, where I've just been like, like, man, like when is this stuff going to end? When are we going to be able to go back to normal? I mean, we've all had those thoughts, right? So, but when I find
Yeah.
myself doing that, it's I try to find things that escape me from that. So like in my case, it'll be either like like a movie or maybe a sport, watching sports or playing video games, whatever it might be, that just to try and get my mind off it. But I definitely don't run away from bad days or like stuff like that, because I feel like if you just eliminate
Yeah.
it completely, then it's kind of painting a false picture of reality in your mind, because not every day is going to be good. Like we all know that, you're going to have those days. So yeah, I just try to find ways to cope with it and just kind of escape it when I do encounter those days.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And like you said, this past year, it's
Yeah.
been a crazy year, with the way the world is and just, other stuff
Yeah.
coming up here and there. So I think like having those escapes, but like you're saying, like, you're using those escapes to kind of cope, but you're not just like
Right.
avoiding completely what's going on.
Aware.
Like you're still kind of
Yeah.
acknowledging it, aware of it, but like just like, hey, like, let's just zone out and watch a good
Yeah.
movie. Let's
Exactly.
check out, a sports team,
Yeah.
something like that. So yeah, I appreciate that. That's a good way to look
Yeah,
at
man, for
it.
sure.
Awesome. So, for people that are listening and, maybe they might be someone that has a little trouble being positive or seeing like the
Yeah.
positive side of things. Do you have any advice for like, just like from a mindset perspective, like how to think more positive or how to have more positive interactions when it comes
Yeah.
to being with others?
Another good question. To me, if you're struggling with, if anyone listening to this or anybody who, if you're struggling with finding ways to be positive or ways to, spread positivity, not even spread, just be positive yourself. To me, the one thing that I always remind myself is that there are always people who have it worse than me, right? Like, so
Hmm.
even just simply saying, just having food to eat every day, or even just waking up, like not everyone has that. Not everyone's lucky enough and blessed enough to have that in their life. Like you never know, there's always somebody who has something worse than you. So it's like, if I'm going to sit here and complain, oh man, I want to go out to eat tonight, but my parents said no, or I want to, whatever. Like if I'm going to complain about something small like that, like I really just think about it. Like, let's be honest here. Like I have food, I have shelter. Like, there's people who have it a lot worse than me. So there's reason to be grateful and thankful rather than be negative and dwell on what I don't have. So I would just say, if you're struggling with, finding a positive mindset, just try and really look at the things, like kind of like look in the mirror almost, and try and like look at the things that you do have, and realize how much more you have than so many people, and be grateful for that. Like, don't feel guilty. Obviously, if you have the means to help those who are less fortunate than you, then definitely help them. But don't feel guilty about what you do have. Just be thankful for it, so that you aren't like, negative, or you're not petty about different things that you don't have. If that makes, does that make sense? I don't. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I think you hit it.
Yeah.
It's all about perspective. It's having that perspective that, a lot of things that we, me and you probably, but also just everyone in
Yeah.
the world take for granted. Like, I ate food today. We just kind of went through a winter. So, like I had warm
Exactly.
clothes for when I had to go
Yeah.
outside, or, shelter and stuff like that. I think it's just that perspective. And, I like you using the words like grateful and
Hmm.
thankful and things like that. Anyways, Brian, so you're talking about, being grateful, being thankful, and just kind of having that perspective. Have
Hmm.
you ever personally done any like gratitude journaling or writing down things you're grateful for?
Yeah, so I typically use my phone a lot, as I'm sure everybody listening to this or everybody in the world does. So I use my notes a lot. I'll write down anything in my notes, like my order from, Chick-fil-A, like anything, right? So
Yeah.
I'll use my notes for a lot of different things. So what I do is, or what I have done currently, is I'll write on my notes like reasons to be thankful, or like
Yeah.
different like things like that, and I'll write like a list, and then I'll pin that note. And when you pin a note on the iPhone, at least what it does is it brings it to the top. So now whenever I enter into the notes app, that is right on top, and it's right in front of me. So that's kind of the way I've been able to, like, whenever I'm like, trying to like look back and like have that perspective of, being grateful. That's one of the ways that I kind of make sure it's, present in my life. I don't necessarily write like on paper too
Yeah.
much. I don't know. I probably should. But yeah, that's kind of, I pretty much use my notes a lot for things like that.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, that's something that like I never really did too much in my life. And then like as I kind of got older and grew up and had this more perspective on just being grateful for things, like whether it is like, I use my phone too a lot, the notes app on my iPhone.
Hmm.
So like you doing the same thing as you, just putting things I'm thankful for, or, sometimes writing it down on paper, like, I'm grateful for, the food that I had today, whatever
Yeah.
the case may be. I feel like it's just like when you write it, when you type it, whatever, and you can like visually see it,
Yeah.
you're kind of like you're always being reminded of like
Definitely.
you are grateful for things. And I'm sure there's things in your life and my life that like haven't gone our way, or we wish we could have changed, but
Oh
at the
yeah.
end of the day, we still have a lot to be grateful for, and it's just keeping that perspective.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. Yeah, 100%.
Appreciate it. So we've talked kind of about content creators or influencers, whatever you want to call them, celebrities using their platforms. One that you specifically are like inspired by, or that you kind of look up to, or has helped you with
Yeah.
your content creation or positivity?
Yeah. As far as content creators specifically, a couple guys that I've watched for a long time. I've watched. I don't know if you know, like the two hype guys. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I've watched them all for a long time. So they're definitely inspiration. Um, let's see, other YouTubers. I'm not sure YouTuber. I kind of like those, like the two right before they became an actual group, and they were other individual people. I was watching them, so like those are kind of like all those guys. And then as far as like other celebrities or athletes, definitely Steph Curry. He's my favorite basketball player. He's, yeah, I was super inspired by his whole story, because he was really undersized going into college, and then he had the crazy run at Davidson, and then and then now he's one of the best shooters of all time. So definitely Steph is inspiring. And yeah, there's also like some like musical artists, like other things like that. But as far as like actually like inspiring to me, definitely like the two hype guys for YouTube. And then as an athlete, I would probably say Steph Curry would be like my main inspiration.
Awesome. I love it. And I'm a huge Steph Curry fan too, so
Yeah,
I'm completely with you.
for sure.
Have to ask, since it came up, Steph Curry, best shooter of all time, or one of the best?
I mean,
What's
like,
your thoughts?
come on, like Steph, he's the best of all time. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, if you look at the numbers and you look at, I know he hasn't passed Ray Allen yet in like all time threes, but he's going to. And
Hmm.
it's just like, if you look at the efficiency at which he shoots and he just, it's so effortless for him, right?
Yeah.
It's just so, it's like art the way he shoots the basketball. And yeah, there's no doubt he's the best shooter of all time.
I'm totally on board. And, I just think about like, for me growing up watching Kobe,
Mm.
just the way that he kind of played and changed the game, like has changed the game. I mean,
I have the exact same arguments with my friends and with people around me all the time. And I say exactly what you just said, how Steph changed the game forever. Like, ever since Steph came
mhm,
into the league, kids are taught from a young age and in high school and even college, like the game is built around the 3-point shot ever since Steph
yeah,
came into the league. And he changed, like you got, like you said, there's only a couple guys you could say really changed the game, and Steph's definitely one of those people.
100% agree. And like, it's just interesting because, like probably, you've throughout your life, you've seen kind of like the whole, dominant big man, like
Hmm.
Shaquille O'Neal, Ben Wallace. As a Pistons fan, I have to throw in Big Ben.
Yeah.
Um, and now, we get the more stretch fours,
Yeah.
stretch fives, and, almost if your center isn't shooting threes, you're kind
It's
of in
like
the
a liability.
minority.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I mean, gosh, as a Pistons fan, the years of like Andre Drummond and stuff,
Yeah.
love Dre, but it wasn't working. It wasn't what the NBA needed. And
Right.
like you said, just like the evolution of the 3-point, and just, I mean, even just like if you go to a park right now or watch like young kids playing, like you'll see them trying to hit those like deep
Oh, that's
threes
all
or
anyone wants to do. Like, no one wants to dunk anymore. It's all about shooting from like
exactly.
the logo.
Exactly. And I mean, like, you think about like the young guys coming to the league. You got like Trey Young,
Yeah.
who, I mean, Steph Curry 2.0,
Yeah. Right.
essentially, with his range and shot
Yeah.
selection and stuff. So yeah,
Exactly.
but anyways, yeah, I mean, definitely a really good inspiration and person to kind of look up to. And
Hmm.
I think Steph's someone that he acknowledges that he is on this huge stage and he uses his
Oh
platform
yeah,
in a
definitely.
positive way.
Definitely. I think a lot of the guys around the NBA
Yeah.
specifically use their platforms very well for a lot of different things. And I think that, yeah, no, definitely that's a good point. And yeah, I agree with you.
Awesome. Yeah. And I mean, you know, obviously I don't want us to necessarily have to get too deep into it or anything, and
Mm.
I don't want you to go too deep into it, but kind of touching on what you just said, there's been a lot of stuff just in the last few years, I'd say, where maybe people are saying like athletes are athletes, like just play sports, like
Right.
don't get involved with stuff going on. I mean, I would argue kind of like they have that platform, like
Yeah, no,
if they can
no,
use it,
yeah,
right?
I 100% agree. I think that anybody who says, like, shut up and dribble or whatever you want to say, I think that's
Mm-hmm.
completely bogus. Like, it's these, it's, look, you don't tell content creators or artists, right? You don't tell them, oh, shut up and make music, or oh, shut up and make videos. Like, nah, like when you have a platform like that, it's almost your job to use it to
Mm-hmm.
spread to either spread positivity when it's needed, or to shine light on things that need to be that need to be changed or that need change. So yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that people who just think that at this day and age, especially, that these athletes and these other people are just like solely athletes and that's it, like, nah, they're mistaken. It's a lot deeper than that, and I applaud these athletes and these other you know celebrities for making sure that they incorporate that aspect, the social aspect of life, into their games, to make sure they're they're showing and promoting what needs to be promoted, and trying to
Yep.
change the world for the better.
Totally agree. And I mean, I think like, you know, one athlete that really stands out to me is Kevin Love. Just a
Mm,
few years back, putting out his article about like kind of his struggles with mental health
yeah,
and just anxiety, and that's something that isn't really talked about in sports. And I mean, since then, I know like DeMar DeRozan has talked about it, and Lonnie Walker
yeah.
on the Spurs has talked about some stuff. But it's just good to kind of get those conversations out there. And I think the biggest thing as a sports fan for me, or the biggest issue that I have with sometimes other sports fans, is like not realizing that like these athletes, they're people
Oh yeah.
still, like, you know?
Oh yeah, no, and you said it right, especially because here's the thing, right? When an athlete or when a celebrity or someone who's famous says something, like we've said earlier, so many people listen. Even they could say the
Hmm.
stupidest thing in the world, but people will still listen because of who they are. So when they make sure that they explain and show their own human struggles like all of us have, it definitely makes, at least for me, it definitely makes me feel like, oh, like this person isn't that much different than me. And when in reality, yes, they're incredibly good at what they do, but we're all human, right? Like you said. So
Yeah,
when these athletes and when these different people um kind of show themselves as human as well, not as higher ups. That it definitely, I think it definitely brings a sense of security to everyday people, and I think it also helps
yeah,
people to cope with their own struggles.
definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, you maybe see yourself in that
Yeah,
athlete or that celebrity, or like you think like, yeah, they are a human, like they have bad days too, or
exactly.
like, like, I mean, you think of like I can't think of the quote off the top of my head, but with Michael Jordan, like how many shots did he miss,
Yeah,
like in his life? And
right.
it's like not all these people that are incredible at things, content creation, music, athletics, it's not like they're always winning or
Yeah,
they're
no.
always, making the big shot. And like they fail and they fail over and over
Yep.
again. And I think like, I don't know, me personally, like I've always been someone that's like, I can't fail, I can't mess
Hmm.
up, but that's part of
Oh, it
life.
definitely is, and it's yeah. Failure is like that's really it's everything. Like if you don't fail, you never grow. I feel like because you never
Yeah,
learn. If you win, if you succeed at everything you do, you're never gonna feel challenged, and then you're never going to grow at all, in my opinion. So yeah, no, what you just said is absolutely true.
totally. And I think it's like, I feel like you maybe see that with athletes in the sense of like they're just naturally like God-given talent,
Mm.
but they don't really put in the work. And then like eventually, like maybe it doesn't happen till college or maybe, professional sports, like they're like, oh God, like everyone else is better than
Yeah.
me now because like they put in the time where I've just been like coasting by
Uh,
just,
yeah. No. It's sorry to interrupt you. You could,
oh,
okay.
you're
Yeah.
good.
So no, I was just gonna say. Yeah, no, it's one of the things that I actually like really like it pains me to see how like there are people like whether you see it in like college or you see it in whether if you're watching like high school whatever, like people
Hmm.
who just have such like you said God-given ability and talent, but they don't reach their full potential because they're lazy or they don't work as hard as they could because they feel like they could just get by and still be really good at whatever they do. Yeah, that
Yeah,
definitely hurts to see.
it does. I mean, especially just like the people, like maybe they have a good story or like you're just pulling for them
Yeah,
and it's just like, oh, come on, man, just
yeah,
put in
for
a little
sure.
extra time. Yeah, for sure. And the biggest example I can think of that I just wish it panned out better. Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
I loved watching him at A&M, and I know he's gone through some stuff, and even like now he's actually on podcasts of his own talking about kind of what happened and
Hmm.
his mindset back then. But just someone like that, just I would have loved to see him be like Lamar Jackson
Right.
before
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson hit the
Yeah.
NFL.
Nah. Yeah. In his case, yeah. It's. But I think it's actually a good learning point, a good learning experience for a lot of people. Not just him, but other people who might have not had as successful of a career or whatever you want to say. Because yeah, he had seemingly everything going. I think he won Heisman, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Like
Yep.
he was a star, number one overall pick, and then I don't know, like some things off the field and whatever, it just kind of got to his head,
Yeah.
and it could you have to really be focused in on what you want to do, especially once you get to the main stage like that in the NFL. You got to really be focused in. Otherwise, if you let other distractions get into your life, then it could really kind of derail your career.
For sure. And I mean, the crazy thing, like when I think about it, is like these kids, that are going from college to first overall
Yeah.
picks or top five picks, like they're still
Oh,
kids,
of
man, and there's so
course.
much pressure
I,
and like distraction, and oh
yeah,
man,
I
it's
saw this
tough.
quote yesterday. Yeah, it's definitely tough. I saw this thing yesterday. I was watching the Warriors game, and after the game, they were asking Steph about James Wiseman, who's if you guys listening don't know, he's 19 years old. He's a rookie. He's 19 years
Yeah.
old. Like they asked Steph, like seeing what Wiseman does at his age, like how does it? Like, do you see any similarities or differences in your guys' game from like when Steph was 19? And Steph was like, when I was 19, I was going to parties at Davidson. Like, this guy's in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy how
Yeah,
young these athletes are these days and how talented they are. And like you said, if being that young, you're vulnerable to a lot of different things.
definitely. And I don't know, like I don't know if you see it or feel it too, but for whatever reason, I feel like as I've watched sports and got older, it's like the next generation of athletes that come in, it's like they hit fame or success sooner, and like
Yeah.
the skill level like is just
Through the
insane. Like I
roof,
mean,
dude.
like I remember like LeBron, obviously a huge deal when he came out of high school and everything, but now it's like there's like a LeBron, there's like a
Yeah.
Zion, there's whoever, LaMelo Ball, like
Yeah,
every
I was thinking
year.
about that the other day. I was thinking like, man, like all the stars that, a bunch of us grew up with, whether you look at LeBron, KD, guys who have already retired, like,
Hmm.
people like Kobe or whoever else you want to say, like all these guys are going to be out of the league within the next 5 to 10 years, which is crazy to think about. Like, and then, but
Yeah,
like, but then on the other side, like you just said, like these kids are so talented these days. Like we've never seen talent like this in the NBA. That's like in these young kids.
right.
So yeah, it's exciting in a way. Uh, but it's also interesting. I'm excited. I'm actually interested to see how basketball as a whole kind of progresses because with all these kids being so good, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Do you have any thoughts about what you think could happen in the NBA?
You know, as far as like the 3 point shooting, I know it's a big topic about how like there's too many threes in a game, like per game.
Yeah.
I think the only thing they could do, or the only logistical thing I would be okay with them doing to change that is to move the 3 point line back. I don't really want a 4 point
Okay.
line. I don't really think that kind of changes too much for me. And I've seen like people say like,
Yeah.
oh, well, you can make each team can only make or shoot 23s per game. I don't like that either. I just think that like.
No.
But then on the flip side of that, if you move the 3 point line back, then in 10 years, the next kids, everyone's going to be taught to shoot from back there. And the next thing you know, you're going to have kids shooting from half
Yeah.
court consistently. So it's tough. Um, it's tough. I really don't know what's going to happen.
For sure. Yeah, it's tough to see, and you never know. Like, I mean, I don't really think anyone necessarily expected like Steph to come in and
No,
explode like three
yeah,
point shooting. So you just never know.
for sure.
So I have to get your opinion on this, and your opinion might be a little different than mine, or maybe like a Pelicans
Yeah,
fan. But you as a Nets fan,
yeah,
as
I
a
knew this was
Brooklyn Nets
coming.
fan, I mean, what's your view on like super teams or like big threes, or like I know they kind of have more than three
Yeah.
at this point, but like good for the league, bad
All
for the
right.
league.
Well, let me start by saying, um, as a Nets fan, lifelong Nets fan, I'm never gonna apologize for having a good team. Okay, okay. Listen,
Yeah.
I've seen this team 4 years ago. We had 23 wins, and like 5 years ago, I think we had 21. We've never won a championship. So to any of you NBA fans out there saying, "Oh, the Nets don't deserve this," no, take a look at what Sean Marks has done in his 5 years of being general manager, turning a 20-win
Hmm.
team into what we have now. Okay. So don't. Okay, that's one thing I have to say that. But as far as super teams and all that, look, obviously you want competitiveness around the entire league. You don't want it to be just one
Hmm.
team or whatever. But um, you know, people are acting like the Nets are like the best team ever assembled. Which okay, on paper maybe they might be like right now it's up there. I will say, but. Bro,
Yeah.
LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin, like these dudes are old to be honest. Like they're obviously good role
Yeah.
players. Like they're some of the better, if not the best, role bench players in the NBA right now. But like, come on, it's not like you're adding them in their prime. Like Aldridge can't,
Right.
and even that being said, the Nets defense is their biggest problem. And these two guys are not
Yeah.
good defenders. Aldridge specifically, they are not good defenders. Like I think I saw this stat yesterday with Aldridge on the court with the Spurs this year. They're like a minus 57 or something like that. So it's like
Yeah.
it's like obviously it's going to help when you put them around the rest of the guys in the Nets. But one of my biggest problems with what people were saying the other day when the Nets got Aldridge, people were like it seemed like people were more angry that the Nets got Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge than when we got James Harden. And it's like, what? That
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to me. Like I feel like if you look at what Harden's doing, Harden has been by far the biggest addition to our team. Like so, I don't know. Obviously, I'm excited being a Nets fan. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
ever apologize for trying for a team trying to get better. And I don't think that we're like, I don't think it's a guarantee. Nothing's guaranteed, right? I think that we definitely have our
Right.
flaws. Our paint defense is kind of atrocious. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be fun. Obviously, a more balanced league is, um, I don't know. It's more competitive, I guess, but I don't know. I still think
Yeah.
that there's. I think the Bucks could beat the Nets. I think the Sixers. I think the Heat could beat the Nets. Like, there's like, look, if you look at the Nets, like right now, I understand we're hurt, but look at the Nets. We almost lost to your Pistons the other night. Like we
Yeah.
almost lost to the Timberwolves yesterday. So it's like, and it's not no disrespect to those teams, but teams with lesser records right now, we're not blowing them out. And I
Hmm.
understand we're hurt. We have some injured guys, especially KD, but like, nothing's guaranteed.
Totally. And I'm with you, honestly, man. You want the league to be competitive, but I don't think anyone can realistically fault any athlete for wanting to be
Yeah,
on a
what?
winning
Yeah,
team or any like GM to want to bring in all this
exactly.
talent. Like if they can do it,
Exactly.
why not? I mean, I'm all for it, and I think you hit a good point. Maybe for more casual sports listeners that might be hearing this, Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, huge names, but
Oh,
they're
yeah.
out of their prime. And as a Pistons fan, I will tell you, Blake had some rough
Yeah.
games in the D.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think you're just getting the big names, and they're good role players. They're gonna help off the bench. But I mean, I don't. I would say it's a big three with very
Yeah.
quality role players, and I don't think that they're unbeatable by any means. I mean, my Pistons aren't looking that great, but they give the
Every
Nets good
time.
games, and I
Every
think they even
time.
beat them
Yep.
once. So you never know, and I mean, of course, you listed a lot of good teams, and I mean,
Oh, yeah.
out
Yeah.
west, obviously the Lakers and Clippers are big names, and I, yeah, I mean, I struggle with people getting upset about it because like you want to play on a
Yeah.
winning team as a coach, as a GM, you want the big name players, you want to assemble
Yeah.
that squad, and although it does kind of maybe make it unfortunate for I don't know, Pistons or Timberwolves fans, I think it's a process. And the thing is, I don't like the draft lottery. I will be the first to say that.
Yeah.
But I mean, any team really, like with the talent that we talked about earlier, like any team can just hit it huge in the lottery and be,
Oh, yeah. You
top
never
tier
know.
team within a
Yeah. No,
year.
100%.
Definitely. So, Brian, I'm gonna ask you to put on the
Oh,
GM
boy.
hat for a minute. So,
Yeah.
GM Brian, if you're starting a new franchise, who do you want as like your cornerstone all
So I
star?
can
Like
pick
who are you
any All
building a team
Star.
around?
All
Any
right.
player in the NBA,
Is
and
this
like
like
build a team
today? Like
around.
with their current ages? Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, that's a hard question.
It is.
Just because like a lot of the guys that I would say are kind of like older, so like you know what I'm saying. So I
Hmm.
think if I were to start a team today, the one player one All Star that I would pick would be Luca. I just think that
Okay.
Luca is young. He's a star. His IQ is really good. Like he's really smart with the basketball. He can
Okay.
play make. He can shoot. And I just think that, and he's also big. I think he's like 6'6". Like, so I think he's 6'6". I don't know.
I think he might even
Yeah,
be a little
no. So
taller.
I like Luca. I think you compare Luca with a solid big man, like maybe I can get a big man. I think that Luca would be the guy I would pick. But that's tough. That's a tough question.
It is, and I mean, I don't think you could go wrong with Luca by any means. But there's
So
so many
many.
good options out there. I mean, I don't know. Since he's come into the league, I've been a huge fan of
Oh,
Ja
dude, Jaw's
Morant
a beast.
in
I love that
Memphis.
man.
Just the energy he brings, and I mean, he's shooting threes, he's taking
Yeah,
it and
he can dunk on
posterizing
anybody. Yeah,
some bigs, and he's got good handles too. So I could see. I don't know. I mean, I think when you're building a team, I want to say building around
yeah,
like
I
a
agree. I
guard,
agree. Especially this day and age.
is the
Yeah.
best way to go. Yeah, for sure. Now, is there any players in the league that you would say are kind of like maybe flying under the radar, might be a big name in a couple of
like
years.
young
Anything that
guys.
comes to mind? Yeah, or maybe even like I don't know. I think about like I guess he's young, but I think about like the Pistons, like
Mm,
Josh Jackson. You know, huge hype, didn't really do anything, and now he's kind of picking it
yeah,
up. But he's still a young
you
guy.
know
But
that's a good question. I would say, you know, I guess he's. I mean, he was an All Star this year, but Zach LaVine,
mhm.
like Zach
Yeah,
LaVine, he's 26. This guy, I think, is one of the best players in the league. Like he
hmm
is really, really talented. He can shoot, he can drive, he has incredible bounce, as we know from the dunk contests. Like I just really like his game, and I think that honestly, with the Bulls getting Vucevic now, like I think that I think that the Bulls could be a really good team in the next couple of years, depending on how Kobe White and the rest of those younger guys develop. But yeah, I would say Zach LaVine, and then if I had to pick another guy who's kind of like not proven himself yet, um, I would say, it's a tough question. Um, I'm trying to think of some guys. Karis LeVert, right? I mean, like I'm obviously being a
yeah,
Nets fan. Like I got to see him a lot, and I think that the league is starting to, and people around the league are starting to kind of appreciate how good he is. But I think that he's going to really come
yeah.
into his own in Indiana, and I think that he has the making to be a really really good player in this league. If I mean he already is, but like an all-star player.
Yeah, for sure. And when I asked you the question, I
Yeah.
was thinking of Karis LeVert. Being a from Michigan and Michigan fan, I
Right.
saw him play in college and followed him as a net and everything. And I feel like he was one of those players that in Brooklyn he was a
Yeah.
great player. It's just he kind of
He
still
really
flew under
did.
the radar. And I mean, I think you throw him in Indiana and he could be the best player on
Yeah.
the team. He could be putting up
The
30
other night
points
he
a
had like
game.
28, I think.
I think there's a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but he was hurt kind of
Yeah,
often in
no,
Brooklyn, wasn't he?
that
Or
was
a
the
couple
one thing
injuries.
with Levert. He was just hurt a lot. Didn't he get hurt at
Yeah,
Michigan as well, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah.
yeah, yep. And I think when he was drafted, he was actually kind of like
Yeah, he
still
was. I don't think he
recovering
played much
from
his rookie
injury.
year, and then he was hurt again last year, or
Yeah,
2 years ago, I think it was. And then of course this year he had
yep.
the injury. But yeah, no, I think Levert's going to do really well on the Pacers. I think that him and Zabonis. Dude, honestly, the Pacers have a good team. Like Zabonis, they
They
got
do.
Brogdon, they've got Holiday. I think is on their team, one of the Holiday brothers. And then Levert. Like they have a
Yeah,
solid team, man.
they do for sure. And I'm excited to see them. I'm excited to see Levert kind of get more of like that
Yeah.
star starting role. But yeah, I mean, I think those are great examples. I love Zach LaVine's game. I mean, I think everyone
Mhm.
knows Zach LaVine because
Yeah,
of the dunk contests, but like if you watch his highlights, like
he
the
really
dude can
can
ball, like he can shoot, he can do everything on the court, and he's more than just a dunker. So
for
I'm
sure.
pulling for him for sure. Um, Levert, like we talked about, and I think for me, like kind of like the sleeper, like not really making much waves. And I know this might be an outlandish comparison, but
Yeah,
Rui
on
Hachimura
Washington.
on the Wizards, yeah, I get like he reminds me of like Giannis,
Honestly,
just
that's not a
like
bad comparison. Like in a couple of years, I could see him being
right
really like he was. What is he a rookie this year? Second year? Yeah, second
second
year.
year,
He,
yeah,
yeah, no, he. I was watching some because the Nets play the Wizards a couple times this year, and whenever I would watch them, like he always
hmm
surprised me because he's really smooth. His game is really smooth, and
yeah,
I agree with you. He definitely could be a star in a couple of years.
for sure. So we'll
Yeah.
we'll have to see on that. But going to like players that are going to be stars in the league, college basketball. How are you enjoying
I'm just
the
glad we had a
tournament so
tournament
far?
because last year without the tournament, it was painful. I love March Madness. I think it's great. It's
Yeah.
amazing. My bracket has been busted for about a week, so that's pretty bad. But yeah, no, it's always college basketball, especially the March Madness tournament, is always fun because college basketball is so different than the NBA. There's so much more defense
Yeah.
in college basketball, I feel like, and I kind of like that. I like seeing players really dig in on defense. Um, and it's great for these kids because the kids are young and they have a chance to compete for a lot of like the championship, which is really cool to see. And
Yep.
the emotions that come from the tournament are always either really good if you win or it's see when these
Right.
kids are very emotional. But that's part of the game. That's why you love basketball and any sport because of what it brings. So yeah, no, I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it's always been something that every year, I can
Yeah,
count on and turn it on and, have
for
games on
sure.
all over the place,
Yep.
stream it on my phone, check the scores on
Yeah.
ESPN, whatever. So it's fun to have it back. And like you, my bracket's
What did you have
completely
winning?
busted.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
have
did so do
Gonzaga,
I actually.
Gonzaga. So I mean, I'm still good. So I'm still good on that. But I mean, my Final Four was Ohio State,
Uh,
Illinois, and Texas.
yeah, yeah. I
So
had Gonzaga, and then I had Illinois, Baylor, and Alabama. So already two of mine are out, and it's pretty
okay,
much over. But yeah,
yeah. So we both
they
obviously went
just
with the
look so
Zags. I
good.
mean, are you still feeling that they're the
Like
team, right?
it's
Like they
so
have
hard.
to
When
be.
I was picking it before it started, I was like, man, undefeated, like that's hard to do. Like I don't think like it's only
Yeah.
like I think the last time it happened was like 19. I think it was 76. Um, but like they're just so good. And if you and even right now, I mean, we'll see tonight. They play USC. It's probably their first real opponent. Um, but
Yeah.
man, they're just steamrolling through the competition. To be honest, like they're Jalen Suggs, like they're really good, man.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's hard to think that an undefeated team or a team that good is going to win it all, but it's just something about the way
Yeah.
they've been playing. It
Hmm.
doesn't look like they can be touched, but it'll be interesting to see. USC, like you said, and um, I mean, in that matchup, Suggs and Mobley, two
Yeah,
big name players that will most likely
definitely.
be top picks. So it'll be interesting to see. I have to ask, what's your take on my boys in maize and blue? Do you think Michigan
I'm not gonna
make it to the
lie.
Final Four?
Um, I had them losing to Florida State because I thought, at this
Okay,
point, I thought the not having Isaiah Livers was gonna really come back to hurt you guys, but
yeah,
obviously proved me wrong. And now you have UCLA, which is honestly, if I were a Michigan fan, I'd be scared. Just because how
yeah,
good UCLA is playing, and they're kind of Cinderella run they're on right now. But nah, I think you guys do take care of business tonight. I think that you go into the Final Four, and then Final Four, anything can happen. So
yeah, definitely. No, I
yeah,
appreciate the love to
yeah.
the
One of my friends is a
the
big
maize
Michigan
and
fan,
blue,
so I
but
got to show him some love.
much appreciated from all of us. Awesome. So, the other thing that I just kind of wanted to touch on a little bit with you, man, is just
Mhm.
your content creation and your time on YouTube. So like what
Yeah,
got you
man.
into wanting to do that?
This is good. When you first asked me to do this podcast, I was actually so excited because I am the past. I've had like my own like kind of podcast, kind of. I did like 5 episodes. It wasn't crazy, but I've
Yeah.
always been on the other side of it, like asking the questions and stuff like that, which is fun. But I've always wanted to like answer the questions, like kind of get that in, like be interviewed type thing. I've always wanted that, so I appreciate you. But yeah, no.
Yeah.
When I was young, I watched a lot of YouTube. I started out, watching NBA 2K and Minecraft. Those are the two games I really, really loved, and I still love them to this day. But when I started watching some 2K guys, I just started to notice the opportunities these guys were getting, like whether that be, oh yeah, the NBA flew me out to this game, or oh, I was able to go meet up with this YouTuber and we made a video, or seeing some of the
Hmm.
houses these guys were in, and not even the money aspect of it, because that's not really what is important to me necessarily, or at least it's not the primary focus. But no, just seeing the
Right.
opportunities that these guys and these content creators were getting through YouTube was just incredibly inspiring to me. So yeah, I wanted to start making videos, so I started making um, Madden videos. I got the Elgato, the capture card for those of you who
Yep.
don't know listening. Got that. Started recording my own videos. They weren't good, obviously. They weren't that good. I was really young. But yeah, no. And then I just it's been kind of an up and down. It's been like an up and down process. Over the years, some years like in 2019 to last year, I really went crazy. I really started grinding, trying to really make it, I guess. So and then I accumulated like 2,000 subscribers within like 7 months, which is like really good. Like
Yep.
anybody who does content creation, it's hard. So that was
Yeah.
pretty good. But then my main game was 2K. The new 2K came out, and I really hated it. So I just stopped uploading, and it's tough. And I've kind of been in that like that kind of lull for the past couple months. And but I'll be honest, this is the thing. Like as much as I would love to be a content creator, like a famous million subscribers, all that stuff, right? As much as that would be like a dream of mine, like how
Hmm.
great that'd be. At this point in my life, I'm just valuing happiness over everything because like at the end of the day, there's always going to be other things. Like there's so many things that I enjoy doing. So even if I don't end up being a content creator, or even if I'm not, I'm not going to do it if I'm not enjoying it, right? And right now, I'm just not enjoying it. So
Yeah.
exploring other interests. Like I said, I'm just trying to take it day by day and enjoy every day what I can. But that's kind of like the very, very surface answer to my content creation journey.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. It's good to hear, you kind of say that it's all
Yeah.
about, being happy and bringing in that happiness and like just honestly hearing you admit like, I
Yeah.
wasn't that happy doing it for a minute. Like I wasn't enjoying the new 2K.
You
So I
got to.
stepped away. I think that a lot of people in content creation think like, that's just when I have to like, really buckle down and just keep doing it. But then it makes kind of
Right.
what you're doing, what you enjoyed in the first place, it makes it
Yeah.
like a chore. Or like, you just
Yeah.
don't have as much fun doing it
I
anymore.
saw this, I was watching, what's it called? I was watching YouTube and I was watching some clips from the Joe Rogan podcast a couple weeks ago, and there was one with
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. And Robert Downey Jr. is one of my favorite actors. I'm a
Yep.
huge Marvel guy. So yeah, I was watching it, and Robert said this thing. He said, in today's society, no one tells you to take a step back. No one tells you don't go after what you want. Which could sound bad, but what he was saying was no one ever tells you to take a step back and take a break, kind of smell the roses type thing. You know what I mean? Like everyone's saying,
Yeah.
grind hard, go, 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 go all the time. And it's like, well, if you go, go, go all the time, then you get to the top, but you are burnt out. Like, what is that really what you want? You know what I'm saying? So that really hit me. Like, everyone's always saying,
Right.
you got to grind, you got to work every day, which obviously working hard is super important. You always want to work hard for things that you are passionate about.
Yep.
But that being said, you also need to, I think balance is super important, like taking time off, taking time to be with family, with friends, to do stuff for yourself rather than always just grinding. Obviously, if you work every day and just don't do anything else, you're going to get to your results theoretically quicker. But to me,
Right.
I need balance. And like, I felt that I was kind of grinding YouTube like so hard and then like I wasn't really enjoying it. So I was like, all right, let me take a step back, see if I really enjoy it. And turns out I wasn't enjoying it as much as I thought I was, at least at that time, and at least for the content I was making. So hey, who knows? Maybe I'll, I haven't really made any content over the past like couple months even, but who knows? Maybe, you know, maybe someday or over summer, whatever, a game will come out or I'll try and make some other content and people will like it. But for me, I just do what I feel is keeps me happiest, and I just feel that's basically it. Just what makes me happiest. I'm just gonna do.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, like, if you do move forward with content creation and YouTube specifically, like, do you think that's, and I mean, it's hard to know, but like, do you think that's always going to be kind of like gaming centered, or do you think you might try different maybe interests
Yeah,
or even bring
that's a
back
good
your
question. I've
podcast?
always been gaming. I've always been like a gaming YouTuber. Um, I don't know. I would
Hmm.
love to explore some other interests if I like other areas, like maybe like some real life videos, like basketball or whatever. But I'm not sure. That's tough. It's tough. It's tough to answer that just because I don't really know like where I'm at with you. Like I don't really. I'm kind of like in like this like awkward like. Yeah, I kind of want to upload, but I don't really like. The other day, not the other day, a couple of months ago, I bought this like lighting. So I was like uploading like there's like a week in like I think it was January or February where I was like into it again. I was like, man, this is fun. I uploaded like three 2K videos in 1 week. I was like, man, this is great. Like I'm excited. That day, like one of those days, I
Yeah.
ordered like a lighting kit off Amazon to really like trying to improve my lighting on my videos, right? So I was like, yo, this is gonna be great. By the time the lighting kit came out, I already said I don't want to upload anymore. So I went and returned that right back to Amazon. So it's like, it's just there's peaks and valleys. So I don't know. It's tough to answer that question. I will say if I ever decided to like really go at it again, I definitely would expand my content. One of the things I hate about YouTube, just to kind of go off on a little side tangent here, one of the things I really hate about YouTube is
Yeah.
the fact that with the way the YouTube algorithm works, um, you kind of really need to be niche specific. For those of you who don't know what that means, it basically means like
Hmm.
Um, it basically means picking something like a really specific topic to upload on and only doing that topic. So like for example, like right, there's there's gaming, and then like within the gaming there's like 2K. So like 2K would be like the specific niche, gaming would be like the more general niche, right? So for me,
Yeah.
like, and the reason why that's important is YouTube says that, when if you post like spontaneous content, like not like a bunch of different things, they don't know who to put your videos out to because they don't know what kind of audience you're trying to
Mm.
applaud to. So that's kind of like, it makes sense, but it definitely kind of sucks because like to me, I'm a really diverse person. I really like a lot of different things. Like I said, I like sports, movies, other music, so many different things, right? So I want to be diverse, but I also want to
Yeah.
grow. You know what I'm saying? So like you get like that really,
Yeah.
hardcore fan base, you really can't um expand your content, which is what's kind of been annoying to me, which is kind of why I have kind of stopped creating content at the moment. But to answer your question, I would definitely likely expand into different areas of interest.
That makes a lot of sense. I think that as someone that, isn't a content creator or just like a casual person listening to this, like you don't always realize
Yeah,
like how niche you have to be,
I know.
to get traction and stuff, and
It
how much
really
it really just like
does.
puts you in a box. Like, I mean, you might love gaming, you might love 2K, but like
No,
after a while, like
it's
that's all you're doing.
impossible.
Like
It's
you're
impossible,
just like,
especially today
I need
with how
something else.
how bad the games are. In my opinion, it's just like
Yeah.
it's I see these people making 2K videos every day since September, or Madden videos every day. And don't get me wrong, I play these
Hmm.
games. Like I do play them on my own time, but that's where like right. So just to kind of say one more thing about this, when in like
Yeah.
it was like I guess December, and I was me and my friends, like we all play Madden Ultimate Team, and like we're all like grinding it, and we're all playing it like every day, like playing all like the
Yep.
challenges, all that stuff. But like, so my friend was like, "Hey, why don't you upload Madden content? Like you play it every day, like you," because I wasn't uploading at that time, really, right? So I'm like, dude, but that's the thing. Like I'm enjoying
Yep.
playing it just casually. If I go upload it on YouTube, it's like I'm forced to play it now. Right now, I'm just playing whenever I want to play, and I'm enjoying it. If I want to play, I play. If I don't want to play, I don't want to play. But with creating content, there's like that expectation that once you start, you continue. So if I upload
Yeah.
today, I got to upload like, whenever else, tomorrow or the next day. You know what I'm saying? So that's, yeah, no, it's just, it's
Yeah.
just so hard to be so boxed in, like you said.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I love this conversation, man, just because I feel like, if you look up interviews or listen to podcasts or whatever with YouTubers or content creators, I feel like you just always get the,
People,
oh
yeah,
my God, I love what I do.
yeah,
Like, I love 2K so much. It's my life. Like, it's nice to like pull back the curtain a bit and hear like, it's a grind. It's tough. And like, yeah, it's worth it. It's fun. And, it's cool to kind of have a platform and interact with people. But at the same time, like, even just knowing like how niche it has to be and like how much the expectations are, and it takes away some of the fun and just, like you said, to be able to step back and enjoy
honestly, yeah.
life actually, and like the people in
Yeah,
your life
no,
is so important.
yeah, no, you said, yeah, no, what you just said was completely true. It's just like I think part of that is that I'm not a huge content creator. I have like 2,000 subscribers or something like that, which is still great. But it's different when because like I said, when you're for anyone listening, this is kind of how I'm just going to break it down very briefly. When you are a bigger content creator, let's say you have 1 million subscribers. Out of those 1 million people, there's probably about a couple 100,000 people, if you're lucky, that will watch every single video. No matter what you post, they love you. Whatever you put out, you're going to get views on. Whereas when you're
Yep.
a smaller channel, it's not like that because people don't know who you are yet, right? So when you're putting out content, you need to put out content that people
Right.
are looking for, so that they come to your channel for the content, not for you. So if I put out 2K content and
Right.
I get 1,000 views, then I put out another 2K video and 1,000 more views, and then I'm like, oh man, I don't want to play 2K today. Let's go put out a Madden video. Those 1,000 people aren't going to watch my Madden video because they're there for 2K. They're not there for me. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
like that's where it kind of
Yeah.
that's like you said, that's kind of where I feel like a lot of bigger creators don't explain, which makes sense because they're not dealing with that. But like for me, that's kind of the struggle that I feel like a lot of content creators, especially aspiring ones who are not as big and kind of just getting started, that's where the struggle comes in, I feel like, for me.
Definitely. And I mean, just to anyone listening that wants to get into content creation or YouTube, like you need to listen to this. Like, there's some really good information here, and just the perspective, right, of thinking of like being a smaller or aspiring up and coming channel or content
Yeah.
creator. Definitely a lot of good
Yeah, of
input
course.
here. So appreciate that. So the world's kind of getting back
Hopefully,
to
man.
normal a little bit, slowly, steadily, and yeah, fingers crossed things will be. But I know that sometimes we're still kind of locked in or staying in. You're big into
Yeah.
games, you're big into music, big into movies. Do you have any like recommendations for
Listen.
things that people should check
Yeah,
out
man.
if you
Listen.
have some
If you're
downtime?
searching for it, well, all right. You know what? I'm gonna say it like this. So if you're like a movie person, if you really like movies, like I said, and you want something to just like binge, go watch the Marvel movies. Like just do it. Just. I don't know, Zach, if you've seen
Yeah,
them, but yeah, just do it, bro. Like just do it.
I
Like
have.
these
Big
things will
Marvel
change your
fan.
life. I promise you, they will change your life. They are. So,
Yeah,
it's the best. Listen, it's the best produced movies in the all time. I'll say it. Okay, that's one.
yeah,
Music. I listen to a lot of different music. I'm really, like I said, I'm a pretty actually like diverse person. Like I'm not. There's a lot of things I enjoy. So I love Drake. He's my favorite artist. Love Drake. You
okay,
know, there's a lot of other like I like it's kind of like a vibe. Like right, like over summer I listen to a lot of country music because like I feel like it's kind of like a vibe. I don't know.
yep.
Exactly. You kind of yeah.
It's like summer, nice
But
weather.
I love hip
Yeah,
hop music, pop music, and as far as um, what else? As far as like games, right now I'm playing a lot of. Let's think. What am I playing? Right now I'm playing a lot of. I'm playing a lot of Minecraft with my friends a lot. We have like a big server that we play, so it's kind of fun.
okay,
One of the games we all
nice.
kind of grew up with. So we're kind of exploring that again, which is a lot of fun. Like as always. What else? I'm not really. It's tough. Like games right now are just like kind of at like a down. Like there's not many great games out right now.
Yeah, it's kind of a. I mean, real world stuff's going on, but games
Yeah,
have been
I
a
agree. I
little
mean,
hit
you
and
got
miss
games like
lately, I feel.
Warzone and Fortnite stuff like that, which I'll play like occasionally, like maybe like a couple times a week.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. We definitely need a new game to come out sometime soon.
for sure. And I mean, I know how much you hyped up the Marvel movies, and I know the game got a little hate, but I'm currently
Yeah,
playing through Marvel's Avengers.
nice.
Pretty fun game. I mean, I know
Yeah,
like people weren't in love with it, but maybe that's something for you to
yeah.
check out, man, because I
I
know you're a
I
big Marvel
got the
dude.
game once, and I ended up actually returning it. And I didn't try the campaign mode. I just played
Okay.
online, and online was like I really didn't enjoy it. It kind of felt like really repetitive. But I know campaign mode is typically more fun. Like
Yeah.
I've played through. I'm playing through the Spider-Man game, like the original one on PS4. And that's super fun. Like it's so great. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I definitely think that the campaign mode. If you're gonna buy these games, just definitely make sure that, at least in my experience, make sure you enjoy like the single player story mode aspect of it. Because to me, I feel like the online mode in the Avengers game got a little repetitive. I don't know if I don't know if you tried it, but
Yeah. No, I'm kind of like a solo like I
yeah.
play multiplayer like Warzone, Call of Duty multiplayer and stuff, but I don't know something about
Oh
just
no,
getting
yeah,
like
it's great.
a nice story driven game and like
Yeah,
Spider-Man too. Like I loved Spider-Man on the PS4 and hoping to
for
get to
sure,
Miles Morales sometimes and
100%.
experience that. Awesome, man. Well, Brian, it's been great having you. For anyone that's interested, like, is there any place
Yeah,
like
I
your YouTube
mean,
or anything that people can
yeah,
check out
I
or
appreciate you
subscribe
opening the
to?
floor to me for this. If guys, if you're listening to this, for
Yeah.
me, the best place you're really gonna find me, to be honest, where you'll hear from me consistently is my Twitter. Twitter is just I that boy Brian. Yeah, I posted about literally any and everything on there, just like different tweets. So you can go shoot me a follow on there if you want. And then if you want to check out my YouTube stuff, again, I'm not super consistent right now. Like I really haven't been uploading much, but we'll never know when that can come back. So, but you're only gonna know if it's gonna come back probably through my Twitter. So Twitter's
Right.
probably the best place to go.
Awesome, man.
Yeah,
And
just the
that's
letter I
so
and then
like
that boy
I
Brian.
like the letter I,
Yeah,
Brian, Brian. Okay, I that boy Brian. Go give him a follow. I mean, even if you aren't like, oh my God, I love sports or, gaming or whatever, like
yeah,
Brian puts out a lot of positivity, connecting with people and just tweets itself and just really inspirational stuff and motivational. So definitely a great follow. And I'm sure, tweet
yeah.
at him, let him know you heard him here let him know, you like his vibe and stuff, and I'm sure he'll be happy to have a conversation with you
Yeah,
about
100%.
positivity or
And
sports or
I wanted to say
whatever.
before we wrap it up, I
But
wanted to make sure I thank you for allowing me to
yeah,
come on here. I appreciate the opportunity. It was super fun. It was a great experience. I really enjoyed this. So thank you.
yeah, of course, thank you for stopping by, and we'll have to have you back sometime, whether it's your, going back into YouTube
Yeah,
and you want to make that official announcement here, or just after we see some of this
yeah.
NBA development, we'll have to hop back on and chat some more. But no, I appreciate it, man. And whether it is getting back into YouTube content
Mm,
creation or whatever you find yourself in, to those listening, I have no doubt, you're going to hear some good things from Brian. He's a great guy, positive, great energy, and definitely something we can all
appreciate it.
learn about and learn from. So, Brian, thanks, man, for coming in.
Yeah, man. You
Appreciate
too.
you,
Thank you.
and have a good rest of your day, man.